Man, I try to get through a day without having reality come crashing in, but it's rather difficult. You know what I mean? If you're going to stay informed, know what's going on in the world every day. I find it really shocking. Well, I guess I don't really. I guess I don't. I had a list on my phone um, of the 2,100 and change sci fi movies that had been made, ever made, and all except three or four of them, the alien was this murderous thing needing or wanting something from us. Something this being who can travel vast distances, who can, they have to be traveling interdimensionally. They have to be doing it in some way that we don't understand. Time dilation makes almost every research, event in the universe superfluous because by the time you get back home, right, there, if there is, if there is a intelligence, I'm not going to insult God by saying it's God. If there is an intelligence, if there has been an intelligence, if there is an intelligence watching this planet, watching us evolve, watching us grow spiritually, socially, watching the politics of our planet, hoping we don't destroy ourselves, okay? Then that's probably our only hope. That's probably our only hope. And I'm not talking about wham bam, here you go, here's a magic pill and your planet is fucking healed. No, I'm talking about saving our species so that when the planet is healed enough, we can maybe repopulate it. That's what I'm thinking. That if, I don't know, I've thought about this a lot because I understand how low we are in the totem pole of intelligent sentience in the universe, because it was what I was shown when I was dead. We are on the very, 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 very outer edge of making it. We're lucky. We should be thankful because we're pretty much the most unspiritual sentient being in the universe. We're out there on the far edge. Yes, there's a few species that were further out away from God, but not many. That's what I tell people. It wasn't many. I am sure that there are beings that millions of years more advanced than us, maybe hundreds of millions, maybe billions of years. You see, there's going to come a point. There's you have these science fiction writers that talk about, oh well, there's these different stages of civilization where you end up using a black hole as your power source. That would be like the number 4. No, I don't think that's it at all. You see, that's thinking exactly like a human being. More power. More power. Our energy source comes from the sun. I mean, for me, as a science fiction enthusiast, I find that ridiculous. Let me tell you what the first technology you develop that takes you towards spirituality, and that is the machine that can manipulate fields. It can manipulate fields and turn them into quarks, turn quarks into protons, neutrons, and then you have electrons, and that you can take those particles and you can make anything you want. Exactly like Star Trek, the replicator. You see, once you have a replicator, nothing else matters in the universe. I've done this video many times. Nothing matters. There's only one thing that matters in the entire universe, and that is life. This is why we're being watched by so many species, why they're so worried about us, why they understand that, they could have seen this happen before. There could be other species just like us that went through the exact same process, which I believe is normal. When there was a scientist who said something like, "Oh, that alien looks too human to be alien," I almost fell over. I almost fucking fell over. Now, I will say, during my near-death experience, when they showed me the pillar of God and all the beings, there was every looking being you could think of. But a lot of them look like us. Nature tends to do things in a beneficial manner, right? Octopuses, the way their brains are set up, great apes. You have to wonder really how intelligent a great ape is, but could you relate to it? You see, there were species outside of us, but not many. And there was every single shape you could think of. And the fewest number, okay, there was a circle of beings around the pillar, the closest beings to God. They didn't look human. They looked like trees without arms or limbs. Is that weird? I guess if you're I guess you don't need arms or legs if you can do things differently. I don't know. That's a good subject for a sci-fi book. They didn't have arms or legs, and their heads were all like a broken tree branch. It was randomness, and that was their faces. That's what I knew instinctually when I looked at them. And I looked at the ones closest to God. I didn't really look intently at each and every individual species. I just knew that there were an untold number, and that this circle was infinitely large of sentient beings around God. And there was every look you could think of, but nature tends to do things in a rational manner, right? I mean, it just makes sense. So maybe they look completely different, but at the same time, I mean, what's different? Intelligent life that is going to be advanced, as far as the ones that I saw, there was very few of them. And they were so advanced that you would have to consider them gods themselves, where they could just mentally materialize anything they needed, or, they're just pure spirituality. That's what they were. They were pure goodness. And the beings surrounding them were also pure goodness and appreciative of these beings, and so forth. We haven't learned to appreciate the beings that are watching us. They're more superior in every way. And the whole list of movies that showed how the military fucked up, first off. Okay, once they found out that these things are real and they recovered some bodies, now they have to keep it a secret because it's too big of a secret. And right after World War II, everything was a fucking secret, okay? You have to remember that the people that made all those mistakes was the only nuclear bomber base in the world at that time. And the guy that was fucking in charge of security for the base couldn't tell an alien spacecraft from a pile of fucking sticks and foil on the ground? You see, that was the hardest one for me to swallow. It was that my government expected me to be that fucking stupid. Or that I couldn't tell time about, oh, they were dummies, they were dummies. And then I'm like, yeah, 6 years after the Roswell event, you guys started dropping dummies for testing high altitude ejections. 6 years after. Oh, what else? See, and now that everyone has a fucking high definition camera in their pocket, it's getting pretty damn hard to say that something's not there. And it's always been shoot down and acquire. That has always been the United States Black Project's fucking number one thing is shoot down and acquire. Because they found out how valuable the technology, how advanced the technology was that they could back engineer. There are still some parts of this that they can't back engineer, but they've come up with their own designs because they don't have the same materials and expertise, but they've come up with designs that work. And that's one of our problems nowadays is people can't tell a UFO from something we have. Mr. Beautiful, the video I have of Mr. Beautiful with the black spotlight that looks around, you know what I mean? That's something that looks like God made it. That's not some fucking black triangle. That looks like God made that thing. It was a ball of swirling light that was just so fucking beautiful, and that's why I called him Mr. Beautiful. That spot, the black spotlight, no one can fucking explain that shit. And it was that direction. I won't even say what's over in that direction. I won't even talk about it. There's no need, okay? But I could understand why a UFO would be over there. I don't, it bothers me because I understand the basic concept of interference in another life form's evolution on the planet. I understand how dire a decision that would be for any species. You know what I mean? To interfere, to make choices, social decisions and shit for a species. See, that was why the prime directive was the death penalty, because you're pretty much as evil gets, because now you're insinuating yourself, and I'm sure that there is some kind of rule or regulation out there that has to do with that, because life is everywhere, and these groups meet at places like ours. They meet here. We start setting off nuclear weapons. Next thing you know, the subatomic world is aware we're here. We could be doing more damage somewhere else than we are here. We're still fucking, we're barely out of the trees. Because we have all these amazing technologies, those are shoulders standing on fucking soldiers. No one man could create or come up with the fucking technologies that we use every day as normal items, like me doing a 4K full video and then transforming it into electromagnetic energy, sending it to fucking somewhere else and out into the universe. Yeah. Couple thousand years ago, that would seem like magic. Imagine what people that are billions of years more advanced than us. You see, I, for one, believe that it would be okay. But then I'm a human, so I'm seeing it from, an anthropomorphic view. I would say, yeah, please. Would you broadcast to the world that this is the reality? This is reality. This is how things really are out there, and that you've been misled, and that we're going to give you machines that will give you anything you want. A replicator. A replicator. Okay, that's it. A replicator. Think of how that would change the world. And of course, they would give us the software for that replicator, in which turn that replicator, you could say, well, I need a cure for this kind of cancer. And the replicator would simply manufacture that item for you, because biology is going to be something that these beings are artisans. You know, it's like the grays making another species of gray. Sooner or later, biological machinery is going to be the ultimate. Being able to control and create life. See, that's the ultimate, right? And I don't think that happens very much out there. If it does, it's for a reason. You know what I mean? Like to deal with violent species like us, right? You don't want to send in the people, you'd send in a clone. That would change the world. Here's your replicator. Everybody's out of fucking business. No one needs anyone. You see, this is what would happen. And this is why you would need an alien interference. Not just here's the replicator, but you would also need them to come in and govern us, because as soon as we had replicators, there would be groups of people or individuals who would try to capture that technology for their own profit. Okay, yeah, now you have to get your shit through me. Yeah, diamonds aren't worth anything, but if you want one, you can only get it from me. Gold isn't worth anything anymore because you can just manufacture as much gold as you want or need. Medicine doesn't matter. Manufacture me a cure for this. Give me a chicken sandwich. We're talking about changing society into a spiritual being overnight, because even farmers would be out of business, because you're turning your waste, or basically nothing, into that chicken sandwich you want. You don't have to raise chickens anymore. See? I mean, it's just staggering. And that was one of the biggest, most incredible technologies in Star Trek, and it was ignored intentionally. Gene Roddenberry was a fucking genius. Do you notice how little the replicator was talked about? Now, it was demonstrated many, many times, okay? Picard liked his tea, and whoop, there it is. Just appears out of fucking nowhere, just like teleportation technology, where they're making a copy of you and broadcasting you somewhere else, but that's still you because it's a copy. Now, on a quantum level, I could see that, well, as long as that information and the information you put in is identical, okay, and you only get one product out and not two out, I would say that is exactly the same being, because that's all we are, is information. No disease, no hunger. Wealth would mean nothing. As a matter of fact, the more ostentatious your wealth, the more you would be looked down upon at that time, because no one would need you anymore. Where are you going to get the people to wash your fucking giant boat, let alone cook your meals and run your fucking engine and pump your fucking gas, which we wouldn't need anymore? Why would you? What? You see? Now you're just a fucking asshole because you got a gigantic fucking boat that no one needs to work for you anymore. The richest people in the world, right? Banks with gold bars stacked to the ceiling becomes as worthless as fucking shit or toilet paper or a chicken sandwich. It's all the same when you get down to the itty bitty particles. So the replicator changes everything. That's the first level of technology that takes you above and beyond the animal. Not where you get your fucking energy source. I mean that. Number two, now that you have the replicator, okay, the next technology is life. That's it. Nothing matters but life now after that. The diversification of life, the kinds of life. Why once you get to a certain level, you must be in on the reason why the universe was created, where it came from, why it came into existence. Sooner or later, you're going to probably be working for the being that I saw, which could only be described as God. I watched Roger Penrose get very close to what I'm saying right now and almost choke on his words. Okay? No predestination. We created all of this before it happened. All the information was already there. That's the weird thing. They didn't, and I have to be honest, they didn't tell me that. I've surmised it from what they did tell me, which was I couldn't see before. They said, well, you were layering before, you're layering now, and you're layering after. And when I saw that guy on the bench, and I knew it was me, and when they asked me, are you going to go back? And when I knew I had to do that to have God, when they showed me my life, you know what I mean? How could that information already exist? When they showed me pick my mom, and I said her, I knew everything about her and everything that would ever be about her. I mean, it was weird. It was weird. I saw her life to death also, and how I related to that. Totally unbelievable. And it happened in a nanosecond. How could that information already exist? That when I picked my mom, I saw her whole life and my life conjoined with hers through time and all the events. How if the information didn't already exist? And that's when they told me, but that's what you chose. And when they said that, I didn't understand. What do you mean that's what I chose? And when they showed me my life from when I went back until that why in my life and all the events. It was weird. It's like how that the information already existed. That's all I can say. And that I do know that however we created that information, that it was us as individuals, first off, and that at any time in this journey, in this place right here, and at any time, you can choose to do the right thing or the wrong thing. That you're responsible. You are responsible. You're responsible for every life you affect. You're responsible for every choice and decision you make. You're responsible for it. There's no, oh, forgive me, Jesus. No, God, the God of the universe doesn't function that way. He's not some jealous chump who you can just pull the wool over his eyes. Because, oh, I'm forgiven. Thank you for forgiving me. Now I'm all clean now because I'm forgiven. That always disturbed me as a cultish behavior. No, you're fucking responsible. That information is preserved perfectly on a quantum level. You're never going to escape it, no matter how many times you come up with some God to forgive you for your whatever, okay? I went in and out that anus. It was disgusting. 90 million people directly attributable to Christians for death, for people being killed by Christianity, Catholicism, Buddhism, you fucking name it, man. Buddhists can be vicious motherfuckers. I have watched them try to kill one another with their bare hands. The being that we admire the most, the guy who gives up everything. He gives up all of his wealth. He gives up all of his riches. And he lives in a cave and contemplates his existence and how he can be a better person. And in the Bible, the part that most people don't like is Jesus says, okay, well, give it all up and follow me. And every last fucking person I know is sitting there going, yeah, could I give up my Mercedes and my yacht? And, don't tell me you don't, because I've been through that anus. I know who you are. Why you need forgiveness every day. I've come to own all my deficiencies and the things that I've done that were fucked up. I've come to own them and understand them, the whys, and the fact that at any moment, the beauty of God is that you can change the information anytime you want. You don't have to live out what you created. You don't have to live out that information that's now playing out in any other way than how you want. But existence will go on, and you can make yours better or worse for the universe. I tell everybody, leave good information. It's permanent. It does all, it's the reason, it's the why for, okay? Good over evil, all of that stuff that everyone feels in here is a spiritual being. There's always going to be that person that has to have the fucking everything. They have to have power and money or they're nobody, because without that, they're nobody. They understand that very, very well. You see, poor people think that if they had all that wealth, that they'd be somebody different. No, you wouldn't. Being happy in yourself is the key. Being truthful, understanding how your world really works. Don't be a fool. Try to be understanding of others of lesser intelligence. Don't, just be a better person. Just be a better person. It's not as hard as you think. Let me give you an example. Okay, so you win the lottery, or you're old money, and you have billions upon billions upon billions of dollars, money you'll never fucking spend. Are you thinking, you know what, I'm going to propagate this down the family line so that the name da-da-da will live on? And I mean, is that why you exist? Is that why you live? You see, if you won the lottery and you got $50 million, how much of that do you really need to be happy? How much money do you really need to be happy? Well, I understand banking and the reality, and I'm thinking, okay, at a meager percent of interest, if I had $25 million in the bank, I'd be the happiest man in the fucking world. I don't need $100 billion. $25 million? No one should have more than $25 million. No one. That's all you need for the rest of your life. Everything else above and beyond that is a drag on humanity and the wealth of our planet, the health of our planet. I hope there's a break glass in case of emergency. That's my wife's favorite. The break glass, where an alien species, they've gotten together and they've all decided, okay, once you get to right here, then if you go to destroy yourselves, we're going to stop you because you're right here, and we're not going to violate a certain level, right? That would be a very fine line and very judgmental. It would be hard to do across millions of different civilizations that end up like ours. Where do you say, okay, you've made it far enough where we're going to save you? Which for me is kind of depressing because I don't see that line. I don't see them making that choice. I see them simply saving enough biological material. Why else would they be taking samples all over the world of our food sources, of our environments, and you know what I mean? Collecting samples everywhere, all over the world. You see some of these UFOs sit there, and these probes are shooting out of both sides, hundreds of them. You have an object that's literally spitting out hundreds of objects that are around a fifth of its size. It should be disappearing. You can't have matter appear out of anywhere. And I've seen that video myself, and I can't fucking explain it. That has to be sample taking. That's what we would do if we were trying to save a species. We would study their habits. What do they eat? What do they need? See? What's the diseases that affect them? What do we need to do to make sure that this species continues? That's exactly what they'd be doing with us. They're that much smarter than us. They're obviously helping we make it. They've obviously helped us a few times already, I'm sure. Like the Chelyabinsk, the meteor in Russia, they got split in half by a UFO. If you haven't seen that video, it's pretty fucking amazing. You have a saucer appears behind the meteor because it's coming in one piece, and it's going to hit the ground, and it's going to be bad. This vehicle comes in behind, it appears behind the object, it flies through the meteor, breaks it in half, and it starts to break up, and then it disappears. I hope you can find it on YouTube. Maybe if I find the link, I'll put it in the description here. I believe they've helped us numerous times. Even though I don't think we're that deserving. There's good to all of us. I know that. Why do you think what's going on in the Middle East was driven by men trying to control men? So you create religions so that you can justify what you want and that you're better. And see, this whole religion thing is a bane on mankind. Okay, if you're a bloodthirsty fucking animal, no God in the world is going to say it's okay, that's what I want you to do so that people will believe my way. You are a diseased motherfucker if that's what you think. There is something wrong in your head. We've planned all this information coming from wherever it's coming from that we're playing out here, okay? It's not just my opinion. The holographic principle of reality says that information is coming from somewhere. And the hardest thing to describe is the absence of time, space, distance, all of that where I was. That seeing light years was no problem. We are just such a different reality. It can't be described. I think this is why we're mostly just kind of smothered in love and understanding. And, there's some alien encounters, it's the same way. The beings say, look, we're not here to hurt you, because they understand that we're in a fucking animal panic. I suggest if you ever meet an alien intelligence, that you don't think about the 2,000 movies that were made where they wanted to suck your blood out. Because why would aliens wait until we're this advanced to fuck with us? They could have destroyed us thousands of years ago. They've evidently been here for a very long time. That just doesn't make any sense, does it? They could swat us like a fly, no problem. They don't do that. They're obviously compassionate. The replicator, which brings on the spirituality of man, of intelligence, the spirituality of intelligence, not man, but intelligence. Once you have the replicator, that's it. You're now done. Everything else is software. Okay? Every intelligence in the universe can contribute to this software program. So that no matter what you need, there it is. No matter where you're from, here's what you need. I might want a chicken sandwich, and some guy from another planet might want, something that doesn't even look like food to me. It doesn't matter. Replicator technology frees you to become spiritual, because everything else is a rat race, the dog race. And it's not fair, because the animal in us drives some motherfuckers crazy. These fucking billionaires that, they could make a difference in the world, but they don't give a fuck about the world. They could care less about the world. Okay? It's about them. That disease, that's mankind's problem, is that, some of us are badly infected with this power thing. Maybe it's a gene. I don't know. I would absolutely be for them landing tomorrow or showing up in the sky I had a dream once about them showing up in the sky in a pattern so dense around the world that you could even see the curvature of the Earth in this shell around our planet of alien vehicles, very close in our atmosphere. And a message being broadcast that you're part of this vast intelligence and we'll be back next year to ask you if you want to join. Here's our book of rules. And then they leave. It was a weird dream. I thought that would make a good TV show or a movie. You know what I mean? They just showed up. There was an absolute, and we're talking about, the sky, basically a blanket, like paisley patterns. That's what I saw, was like these, they were all swirling, moving, very intricate patterns, all of the vehicles. And they gave us the list and said, we'll be back in a year and see if you want to join us. Here's the dangers of the universe. Here's what we can help you with. We have a relocation program. If you ever have a star go supernova, we have insurance for that. Yeah, I would be for intervention tomorrow morning. No problem. It would be the greatest thing that, I mean, we should feel privileged that these intelligences would want us to continue and not go out and contaminate the universe with our form of democracy, you know what I mean? Or our form of capitalism and economics. Okay, I feel better now.